Hey guys, this is cool. This is gonna be a little different than usual. We just wanted to give someone a chance to tell a story about a recent event. So, with that being said, here's the first responder.
Hey everybody, this is First Responder. Uh, as y'all know, this is Sunday. Had a long weekend in Oklahoma. Visited a football game at Choctaw High School over near Midwest City. And I don't know if anybody's seen the news, but I'll fill you in. Start of the football season, Class 6A, Choctaw versus Dale City. Had tons in attendance. Stands were full on both sides. I don't know the amount of people to say. I'd be wrong if I told you, but the stands were full, standing room only, live televised, game of the week in Oklahoma. So anyway, about after halftime and somewhere during the middle, towards the end of the third quarter, there were gunshots in the stadium. Nobody really knew exactly where. It was very muffled. It got quiet, and there was a wave of people that ran from the opposing visitor sideline towards the home side. Well, in the panic there, where there were gunshots, there were people that all crashed diving for the exit. There was a stampede in the stands of all these people that were trying to get out one or two exits, the ones that they had all walked into. And there was a very chaotic moment there that everybody didn't know where to go, but they were trying to push one another instead of just, hitting the deck. It was a whole lot of people trying to go through a narrow opening. There were pushed down. There was a lot of people that had injuries here that probably should never have happened. It was a big panic. After the initial gunshots, I was in the stands. We had hunkered down in place and crawled between the stands, laid down between the sections there. Then there was a second round of gunfire. The second round made even more chaos because the announcer then told everybody to get down, and there was a greater panic at the second round of gunshots because they were considerably louder, and you could tell for a fact what it was, that there was actually a gunman in the building there, or in the football game.
We've got people shooting.
As y'all know, during a football game, a home game, or any game at all, there were kids that were separated from their parents that would come in and check in. Well, if you can imagine the hysteria when moms and dads couldn't find their kids, there were families that were separated. And when all of this had started going on, everybody, after the gunfire had stopped, got on their cell phones and was trying to contact people. And all communications were dropped. You couldn't get a text. You couldn't get a phone call out. Very limited reception at all if you could. So things died down. There was an active shooter. They were still looking for him. And the plan was made that we would usher everybody towards the field house. That was a building, the only building there that was really secure that we knew about. And we started funneling people that way. There was an ambulance there already on site. There was police officers that all went towards the gunfire, so there was very few personnel. Well, a lot of the people trying to get out of the stadium got to their cars, and if you can imagine, it was gridlock all the way across. The one thing that I want everybody to understand, this is to help everybody here, and to let everybody know that we rely way too much on a cell phone or on audio, on that kind of equipment, when nobody there had an emergency plan. If something would have happened, we're going to meet here. Because if you've ever seen the chaos that ensued afterwards, there was 500-600 parents looking for their kids. The kids were down on the field playing. Well, everybody's separated, everybody's in a mess, and it makes it really hard to do anything. There was people that fell down the stands that needed assistance. There was all kinds of injuries, minor injuries for the most part, but there were injuries there. First responders were having a tough time getting into there. We had a couple of people, we tried to call 911. We couldn't even get out on 911. Had an ER nurse with me. I was the first responder. There was numerous people that were helping each other. But you can understand, if you had lost your kid, they wasn't worried about everybody else. They were trying to find their kids, which made it a really chaotic scene because you didn't know who needed what. It was just mass chaos through the whole deal, to be honest. So for about an hour, this chaos ensued. There was people that were trying to get out of the stadium. There were people that were trying to get in the field house. People trying to find their parents, their kids, and all in the while, you've got first responders that are trying to give aid, trying to do things. And if you can imagine, nobody had a plan for stuff like this. And the one thing I will tell you, I'm a first responder, and usually when I arrive on scene, everything's already happened. We're trying to help people. But as of going through that whole scenario, I was in the middle of all of it, and my training did kick in, and other people's training did kick in, but it was a very traumatic experience. There were kids that were visibly shook, and who knows what's going to happen from here. So the whole reason I'm on here tonight is I want everybody to know that take care of your family, make a plan, have an emergency scenario. No matter if you're going to Walmart, a football game, a concert, whatever it may be, that you check your exits, because everybody there tried to flood the exit that they came in on. The gate was that direction, and everybody walked in one direction, but nobody went to the opposite direction where there was another exit. People didn't pay attention to where they were, to other means of egress to get away. If the shooter had been at the main gate, you need to go the opposite way. You need to have a build of visibility to know where the danger is to avoid it. And, calm and orderly fashion to try to maintain that. But with cell phones not working, lack of communication, the issues we had on hand, every department was called in as far as I know, in Oklahoma City, they called in everybody. And the first responders, everybody did a good job of getting there, but it would have made things a whole lot easier if everybody there had a plan with their family. It wouldn't have been as chaotic, and to render aid and to help people would have been easier to do, to avoid the communication issue of where is the active shooter. We had no idea. We just knew there was gunfire, and all the cops went to the opposite side of the stadium. There were none right there that were relaying information of where we needed to go. So we went to the opposite way of where the gunfire was. We tried to get in a building. We secured it. There was all kinds of administration, teachers. There were people that came out that were good Samaritans and did all kinds of things. And the part that aggravates me about this is the news. You pull up the news channel now, and all you hear is that somebody was shot and somebody had a gun, and all of the good things that come out of this are the people that helped, the people that were going above and beyond, even the ones that were bringing water, calming the kids down. There were groups of kids in that building where there were teachers and parents that were consoling the kids. I mean, there was things that happened on here that nobody even talks about. And I think as far as information goes and the way news is portrayed today, we need to be, every case, it's a bad scenario, I understand that, but there ought to be good that comes out of it, and it needs to be relayed to the people to where we're not doing this for ratings or for money, for anything else. This is informational to help everybody. So my goal on this call is, I don't even want y'all to know who I am. I just want to help everybody to make a plan have a discussion in your family room, have a discussion at your work, have a discussion wherever you go on a daily basis with your coworkers, friends, family, and say, hey, if something like this does happen, we have a plan, whatever it may be. And it can change by the scenarios. I mean, you look today, all different kinds of scenarios, you can make the best laid plan, but to have no plan at all is why we're here today. Everybody needs to quit saying, well, that happened to them, it won't ever happen to me. Well, there was a lot of people that said that Friday when they went to the ball game, but after the ball game, they're making a plan now. There will be these discussions. The schools, the administration, the county officials, the government, state, anybody, anywhere needs to have plans made. You need to understand what they are. Pay attention to your exits, your means of egress, how to get in and out, other exits instead of the one you just, hey, we're just going to football game, we're happy-go-lucky. Well, pay attention to where the other exits are, where you can get out, where the other gates are. If you walk in that first gate where we did, you need to know that there's another gate on the opposite side, on each end of the field. There's different things there that you can get out in other means. If you have kids that go, to the concession stand, if anything happens, say, we're going to meet right here. There's a light right here, whatever it may be, wherever you can communicate it. Because the chaos ensued is a lot of people depend on their cell phones to communicate with their kids, to know where they're at. If you lose that, you need a secondary backup to know, here's where we're going to meet, here's where I will be, where I can find you. And as far as everything else goes, I'm tired of hearing the gun violence. I'm tired of hearing who's to blame or whatever. But there's more good people than there are bad in the world. And at some point, we need to portray that we're first responders, yes. We're policemen, yes. We're all these different things. But we're there to help people. We're there to communicate how to love one another and to end the hate. Quit giving them the feed. Quit giving them the news that, hey, he had a gun. Who cares? Talk about the people that do go above and beyond to help people that didn't have to, but they do it out of their own goodness of their heart. And as I look to the news feed today, and Cool will be on here in a minute, and he'll ask, but there was no feed about all of this. All the good that did come out of it, all the people that stepped up that were concerned about the public, were concerned about their fellow neighbor. Those people from the opposite team, everybody was in that locker room, and, it's a rivalry game, I understand, but everybody was helping each other. So we don't need to let the minority rule the day, put fear in everybody, and not have good come out of it. My goal is to pay it forward, that this word gets out, that everybody has discussions all over the country. Whether or not it gets out, I don't know, but I normally don't speak in public or do anything like this. But my prayer tonight is that everybody gets to hear this and makes a plan with their family to do all that they can to keep them safe. Because I pray that there's never another incident, but if there is, I hope everybody is prepared in some way or fashion to do the best they can in whatever the situation may be.